Booklets we are starting with the Hindu editorial article discussion on 19th March 2019. So today's article is about the first of all the article is about Lokpal. So as you all know that there has been a former Justice PC Ghosh has been selected as the first Lokpal. So it is justified as the writer is saying that it is an unjustified delay of 5 years. Yeah, it is. The Lokpal Act has been passed by 2013. It is said in this article itself, finally enacted as a law in 2013 and came into effect in January 16, 2014. So, nevertheless, the writer is welcoming the decision as a milestone in the cause of fighting corruption in high places. The concept of institutional mechanism or an anti-corruption ombudsman has been around for over 50 years. Some of the credit it goes to the anti-terrorist movement, which was a widespread movement, which led to the UPA regime to pass this act. At one point, the government's lack of political will to establish a Lokpal became obvious. That is, the present government situation is saying that the lack of political will was being there to delay this process for 5 years. Ultimately, it was the court's stern ultimatum, that is, the Supreme Court's stern ultimatum to appoint a Lokpal within a framework that worked. Yes, it set a deadline for the government, and the government had to appoint the Lokpal. So this is the next thing we are going to discuss is based on prelims preparation. That is, the appointment system is quite too long. A two-stage process is there. That is, the appointment is the selection committee selects the final set of members in the Lokpal, which is sent by a search committee. So a search committee is there and a selection committee is also there. So first the selection search committee, first the process is by the search committee. So it recommends a panel of high member selection committee which comprises PM, Speaker of Lok Sabha, Leader of Opposition, and Chief Justice of India or his nominee, and an eminent jurist. The selection panel has to choose from a shortlisting consisting of names from the for the posts of Lokpal chairperson and judicial and non-judicial members. So the both judicial and the non-judicial members in Lokpal has been selected by the selection panel. That is the selection committee. So the search committee then sends the names to the selection committee, and you can go into detail about these all things in Lakshmikant's book. There is a full chapter on Lokpal itself. The government had initially taken the position that it was awaiting the passage of amendments based on the parliamentary committee report. The government was delaying this process, saying that there has to be a report on, waiting for a report on the parliamentary committee. So, in that, one amendment was being proposed that the leader of opposition has to be changed to leader of opposition of the largest coalition, or leader of the opposition. That is, sorry, including it is said that the leader of the largest party in the opposition in the selection committee, in the absence of a recognized leader of opposition, it is said that the largest party is there. So as you all know that there is no single largest party who has the required opposition to make the opposition. In a verdict in April 2017, the Supreme Court rejected this excuse, and there was no legal bar on the selection committee moving ahead if there was a vacancy. So, if there is a vacancy too, the selection committee has to be constituted, and they have to set the Lokpal. That was directed by the Supreme Court. It is not clear that this simple amendment, this is the question which is being said by the article 2, and it rises in many minds too. It is not clear that this simple amendment, that is, making this largest party in opposition and replacing it with the leader of opposition, these words making a lot of difference, like that. As you all know that the Mallikarjuna Kharge is leader of opposition, but there is no largest party in opposition. Leader of the largest party in the opposition is not there, because there is no largest party in order to attain the quorum of 1/10. So Congress 2 has only around 50 something seats. So this simple amendment carried in respect of selection committee for the post of CBI director and chief information commissioner was not made in the Lokpal Act. But there was an dichotomy that the CBI director and the CIC they were posted, but this was not made in the Lokpal Act. This is not clear in this aspect. So the Congress leader Mallikarjuna Kharge also has been said that he also declined the invitation to the selection committee as a special invitee. He was invited as a special invitee, but he wanted a full membership, so he declined to attend the selection committee. Now that the Lokpal has chosen victims of corruption have a viable avenue of redress, the Lokpal will take over the work of sanctioning prosecution, besides exercising its power to order preliminary inquiries and full-fledged investigation by any agency, including the CBI. It can work on that prosecution. So it may be unrealistic. This aspect of this thing that thinking that Lokpal will come and change everything, it will be an unrealistic thing. But the Lokpal and other members have a historical responsibility to live up the popular expectations. The writer is saying that we cannot expect any dramatic change due to the appointment of Lokpal, but some changes can be done or will be made. Okay, thank you. And the next article is about future proofing cities, that is our cities, our resilience of the cities to vulnerabilities, to meet to disasters and all. So it is, the writer is saying about 34 percentage of our Indian population lives in cities, and that this demography is expected to grow too. So there is growing rate of urbanization because of lack of jobs and opportunities and many other distress in rural areas. People are migrating to urban areas. Subsequent increase in population density is bringing massive new investments in infrastructure. Half of the infrastructure needed in Asia by 2050 is yet to be built, and this can be used as a further point. It is estimated that globally $6 trillion need to be invested in infrastructure every year until 2030 to meet the current needs itself. Because it is a fact which is heartbreaking too, and it is a surprising fact that $6 trillion has to be made every year until 2030 to meet the current demands also. The World Bank also has made an estimate which you can quote. Annual disaster losses are already close to 520 billion, and that disasters push up to 24 million people a year into poverty. In this case of annual disasters, puts the exchequer, that is the state too, in deficit, and it creates a public too into poverty. So this is a case of negative aspects for both the state and the public. Ensuring that all new investments and infrastructure are made in a risk sensitive way can play a significant role in reducing economic losses from disasters. So making infrastructure in risk sensitive way can make economic losses, reduce these economic losses from disasters. There is no excuse for infrastructure to continue to be damaged or destroyed by recurrent hazards. The writer is saying that a small investment, this is a main point which is inferred from the article. A small investment, often just a small percentage of the total cost of investment, can make the infrastructure resistant to many shocks. So the small investment, that is the total investment may be 100 crore, but a small investment, not even 1 crore, can be implemented to make the infrastructure resistant to many shocks. A small modification or a small investment or a small part of it will make that infrastructure a resilient one that could save many lives, and that could save the account of the government too. So in the prelims perspective, the writer has been saying about this one, that is second international workshop on disaster resilient infrastructure, being held hosted on March 19th to 20 under the initiative of Indian government and with support from the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, is to pursue the creation of global creation coalition for resilient infrastructure. That is second international workshop on disaster resilient infrastructure is being done in Delhi. Is being hosted under the initiative of Indian government with the support of UN office, and this can be used. This question can be asked in the prelims perspective, and it is for resilient infrastructure. So this event also is mean for the international cooperation and shared commitment are needed to future proof our cities. So recent disasters, even without any disasters tools in cities like Mumbai and all, can prove that a small investment and many political will and many other things can make the cities resilient to population pressure or any disaster management. So we will discuss it in post prelims in detail, because we will look into the aspects and what all we can do. So this article is also like that, and there are two more articles which is said about death penalty, and death penalty has been discussed earlier in our articles too. And there is one more article which is not important in the perspective of exam point of view in mains, that is war or peace. We should want war or peace. We will say definitely it is peace, but the points in which it is saying that the main in the mains answer with more right, but if an essay comes, you get caught those answers that peace makes a man with a integrated mind or a peaceful mind can make these all stern decisions, or and he will be mature enough to make peace of it, because war and all, they have their own negative ways, that is the disasters in every spheres, that is in the economy, in the polity, in the social life, and it may create hazards and all that. So the outcome of the war is not victory, it is failure of both sides. So the peace is the main aspect of it, and love creates this peace. And these all can be asked if it asks in essay, or else mains questions. I also don't think that war or peace is to be done. It may not be asked in the mains perspective, but in essay we can prepare it in detail. So these all are the discussions for today, and thank you very much for the discussion.